Recently I attended a workshop with Dr. William Shaw from the US Great Plains Laboratory, and I use this lab a lot for testing of ISD children because it's easy, it's a urine test and so forth as well. And as I sat there, I just thought to myself, you know, how far I've actually come in my own autism journey over the last 25 years now. You know, starting with my son, but at the same time thinking to myself, you know, how little both new and existing parents still know about testing their own children's underlying medical issues. Then I had an epiphany, a revelation. Like, my autism journey started probably the same as any other parent. Actually, it probably started later than for most parents. My wife suspected that something was not quite right early on with my son, and I'll be the first to say that I left it up to her to sort it out. I buried my head in the sand even after the autism diagnosis and really pretended that everything will be fine. Like, you know, he was doing early intervention at Irabina and he was doing really well. He improved in kinder and wasn't terrorising the other kids or the teacher there anymore. Bit of an exaggeration, yes, I know. Yeah, okay, look, he's doing well. We'll put him into a private mainstream primary school. Look, how bad can it be? Well, 2 weeks later, in the private primary school, we were told in no uncertain terms that, you know, look, he's got to go. They just couldn't control him. He was throwing things around, not listening, being disruptive in the class. And this is actually a common theme. Often children seem to be doing well, and parents are really put into a false sense of security, and then bang, you know, there is a change of routine, illness or whatever, and it all just unravels. You know, sounds familiar for some parents? Well, luckily we're able to get him into the local school, the local state primary school. Okay, all good now. Well, not really, but at least they had better strategies to handle him better. So if that's not bad enough, then he was diagnosed with ADHD. Well, I'm a medical scientist supporting the medical model of medicine, so when the suggestion was to put him on dexamphetamine, a stimulant like Ritalin, sure, makes sense to me, why not? So, on dexamphetamine, 2 weeks on dexamphetamine, you know, he started waking up at night, had really poor appetite once he took his meds, he became irritable, he just wasn't the same boy after that. So we took him off it, and finally, as a father, I did what I should have done ages ago. So I'm a medical scientist, so I went looking for answers. I started to look at what we actually know about autism. What does the research say? What do those that treat autism in clinic actually, what are their experiences? And what are parents reporting that actually has helped? So I went off the mainstream track and went on to my own sort of autism journey pathway. And yes, look, I wandered off the traditional autism treatment path. And it is interesting what I actually found in those, and this is 25 years ago now as well. And on that path, what I came across was, okay, when I put this slide up and my kids see, oh, the internet, well, and they laugh about that. Well, remember, yeah, this is 25 years ago. This is in the early days of, you know, dial-up internet and so forth. You know, nothing like the speeds that we've got these days. And before this, you know, if I wanted to find any information on autism, I'd have to go to a medical library and go through the medical journals, or if they didn't have it, the librarian would have to get the journal in for me. But I also found then online discussion groups. I actually found useful websites. I found other resources, including you know, a lot of research studies as well. And I thought, wow. And when that door opened, I found the St. John's List server. Now the St. John's List server, that's actually a online discussion group, but it was a really unique group because it was a group for not only parents on there, but there was also doctors, researchers and so forth. And the amazing thing was that everybody respected each other. Nobody was saying negative things about the parents, or the parents about the doctors. And we were learning a lot in those days about what to do with autism. I also found the Autism Research Institute as well. Dietary intervention, that was new to me as well. Extensive research, biochemistry relating to autism, and the testing that we can do as well, and supplements. And what I found was hope, but most importantly, what I actually found was I found hope with a plan of what I might have, what I can do with my son. So if you can't find a way, create one. So as parents in those days, that's what we did. We tested things, we tried new things, and we worked out what would work for our children and what wouldn't. And the autism research helped a lot in that respect, because what they actually had, they had a parent ratings scale that parents could go online and fill out this survey. And in that survey they could put in information about the medication the children are on, the supplements they're on, diets and so forth, and they would rate them whether they actually were any good or the children got worse on it, or there was no difference as well. For example, we look at special diets. There's a range of diets that parents actually put their children in, and they rated them whether the children got better, they got worse, or there was no difference at all. And when I look at the things like the Feingold diet, well, that was new to me as well. What's Feingold? Look at gluten and casein-free diet. Whoa, 69% compared to 3% actually got worse on the gluten-free, casein-free diet. And even if you just took them off dairy, at least half of the children improved. Or if you just took them off wheat, half of them improved as well. So, compare that to the parent ratings with the dexamphetamine that my son was actually on. 25% got better, 47% got worse. Well, my son was in that 47%, wasn't he? And Ritalin, which I put on the children these days, that's no better as well. So when I compared it to the to the dietary intervention, almost 70% of children getting saw improvement, or parents saw improvements in these children. Look, I guess I couldn't ignore these, well, it's anecdotal, but I couldn't ignore it. So yes, look, I didn't jump into it. Of course, as a medical scientist, I had to go off and investigate this, didn't I? Feingold, so Dr. Benjamin Feingold in the 1970s, put this theory together that food additives cause hyperactivity in children. Okay, all right, so that's Dr. Feingold, a couple of papers there, but then bang, what's this? The Royal Prince Alfred Hospital Allergy Unit. Now, this is a mainstream hospital in Sydney. And their allergy unit is talking about salicylates, glutamates and amines in foods and other products causing behavioural and other medical problems in children and adults. This is a revelation to me. So I got their dietary their elimination diet handbook. And I also found Sindenge, with her Fed Up website as well, where she also advocates the removal of, where she also advocates that children can also react to a range of chemicals, behaviourally, and have medical manifestations as well. And of course, their food intolerance network that's still there. Parents can look it up. Heaps of information, anecdotal reports, and so forth as well. When they say a picture tells 1,000 stories, okay, and when I saw things like this, this is a child that when they're on a diet, their colouring skills are pretty good, and this is when they have things that they're not supposed to eat. Wow, it's pretty dramatic. This is a child on the diet. Writing's great, colouring's great, and when they have something they're not supposed to eat, look at that. Now these are things I can't really, I really couldn't ignore. But look, even though I was convinced, the next thing is to do is to, look, you have to get your wife on board, extended family and so forth. They're not so keen and not convinced. And that's a common problem for parents as well, not just me in those days, but even these days. So look, I am not surprised that parents are slow to come on board with things like diet, nutrition, addressing the child's gut issues like constipation and loose stools, sleep and anxiety as well. You know, parents, they get an autism diagnosis for their child. You know, they shove them into early intervention, they're given money through the NDIS, told that there's nothing else that is evidence-based that can be done for their child. So look, don't waste your time and money on these other interventions. And there's and look, there is nothing further from the truth about this. But then there are other parents there that when their child is given a diagnosis, you know, they go out there, they're looking for information, and they want to try everything. You know, they want to try things like diet, supplements, testing, protocols, heavy metal detox, and all these other things. And when they come in to see me, you know, they'll come in with a list of 20 supplements. I ask, oh, well, which one is actually working? I don't know. They're getting better. And this is where we need to try and work out, you know, what is actually working and what's not working, instead of just doing a shotgun sort of approach as well. And of course, then there are the parents like me, you know, that are really slow to get off the mark. And it's only when parents are not seeing progress or the wheels fall off at kinder or more frequently preschool, like it did for us. Or unfortunately, I'm seeing more and more of the 10 to 16-year-olds because the child is not coping, and parents have been recommended to put their child onto medication, or they're already on one lot of medication and they want to put them onto more medication, or the medication that they are on has actually stopped working. Well, even worse still, there are side effects from medications that parents are worried about and need to deal with as well. And I see some of the saddest comments when I lurk anonymously on some of these online social media parent support groups. You know, mothers posting, I can't do this anymore. You know, my child is violent and aggressive towards everyone in the family, and everybody's walking on eggshells around them. And last year, I probably saw the saddest comment ever, like, I don't love my child anymore. You know, how can a mother say that? You know, giving birth to a child, oh, this precious little baby I'll do anything for. And what, 10, 15 years later, saying, I don't love my child anymore? You know, what's gone wrong here? And when I do the Autism Expos and and I'm there as an exhibitor, this is one of the pamphlets that I actually supply or give out to parents. And it's actually interesting because out of all the pamphlets that I actually have on my table, this is the one that's probably taken, well, this is the one that's taken the least. And it's interesting because it's like parents don't want to know the long-term outcomes of children. They're just living in the here and now. Whereas with myself, I always look to see with my son where I expect to see him in 10 years' time. And how am I going to get him there as well? And remember, there is no reset button on your child. You know, if it doesn't work out, you just can't go back and hit the reset button and have another go. And there's a lot that you can do for your child. You can make sure that they are eating well. And often parents themselves, they're not eating well at all. So how do you expect the child to eat well? You can make sure that they're not in any abdominal discomfort. You can make sure that they're sleeping better. You can make sure that they are not nutritionally deficient. You can help with their anxiety and sensory issues as well. And we're not talking about cures or recovery or taking away their autism. But what we're talking about is giving them the basic support that they actually deserve, so they can achieve an optimal outcome and have a quality of life that they actually do deserve. Yeah, one of the things my son often says when things get tough, he hears this recording going around and round in his head about me saying, learn to be uncomfortable, because life is uncomfortable. And the reason I always said that to him is because I knew that as he was growing up, he would have to face more challenges than most. And it was my job as a parent to prepare him for that. Yeah, successful people do what unsuccessful people are not willing to do. Don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. And that's basically been my philosophy throughout life. And that's why I'm here, a 60-year-old introvert with grey hair and imperfect smile doing video blogs. Yeah, it's almost embarrassing. Yes, it is uncomfortable to put myself out there, and I do expect the critics to come out, or what they call social trolls these days. But if I can make a difference to the quality of life of autistic children and their families, I feel, look, it's worth it. And I feel that it is the least that I can do is to share what I've learnt in the last 25 years. I'm John Petrica. I'm an autism parent, perhaps I should say an ex-autism parent, a very keen autism researcher, naturopath specialising in treating autistic individuals, and a very strong advocate that we need to change the way we treat autism so that we can make a real difference to the quality of life of the next generation of autism children. And if you're an older parent and have been on your own autism journey, please feel free to add in a comment below, and thank you for listening.